This evening, let's queer up trans culture. America's first trans voting center opened up in Los Angeles and may occur for presidential election. Los Angeles is making history by establishing the first ever trans voting center in the United States. Located at the Connie Transgender Empowerment Center, this pioneering initiative aims to provide a safe and inclusive space for all voters, with a special emphasis on serving the trans, non-binary, and LGBTQ+ community. The center opened for primary voting earlier this month for the California nominating contest and will open later for the general election on November 5th. It will facilitate voting and will also offer essential resources, training, support, and medical services for transgender individuals. With the upcoming presidential election, it's crucial for the LGBTQ+ community to make their voices heard. Whoopi Goldberg has voiced worries about the possibility of Donald Trump winning a second term. On a recent episode of The View, Goldberg and her co-hosts discussed concerns about young voters might abstain from voting for Joe Biden or not vote at all to protest America's support of Israel in its conflict with the Palestine war. Goldberg urged voters to cast their votes regardless, emphasizing the importance of preventing Trump's re-election. Activists noted how difficult in-person voting can be for members of the trans community, with stigma and the pressure from Trump and ultra-conservative voters. I think this is wonderful that we are trying to create safe places for people to go and vote. I also worry that it also makes us a target, putting it in one place, saying, oh, we're going to be here on this day.
Right.
So I hope they have extra protection, security there. And I hope that no matter how you identify, you take the time to educate yourself on the issues that are facing our country, and you vote like a citizen, not like a political, not like you have to subscribe to either political party. Don't forget, the ability to make up your own mind, whether it's for a Republican, Democrat, or independent presidential candidate, is what makes you the most patriotic. You do not have to take anyone's side if you want to make up your own mind.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Wow. Well, the security issue would be a concern for me too, but hopefully they have that taken care of. I know how difficult it can be as a trans person to go and vote. I have always exercised my right to vote from 18 years old when I was a feminine gay boy, very androgynous, walking into the polls to vote because I know that there was a time that many people could not vote. We didn't have the right to vote and people fought for that right. So I do realize the importance of it. But yes, since 18, I've been doing it. And I try to encourage my community to get out because it's so important for us. So this makes me happy that they're going to kind of, you know, take us by the hand a little bit and maybe help some people that wouldn't go to vote, you know, necessarily to say, oh, what's the use? Forget it. I'm not going to put myself through that. And I can tell you some experiences, like the looks I would get standing in the line to vote, from way back, you know, like, what are you doing here? But I'm sorry, I am an American citizen and I have the right to vote like everyone else.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm loving this when I think about all of the tactics that are used to stop people from voting, even passing laws saying you can't give people water while they're waiting in line in the 100-degree heat in Florida. I mean, these things, it's ridiculous, but those are realities. The reality is people are trying very hard to control who votes and who doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
And they're trying very hard to control our lives. And there is no freedom when we don't get to exercise our right to vote, right? And so the idea of Los Angeles going, we're going to make a space just for the people that you're giving the hardest time, just for the people that are really going to struggle. I mean, you were talking about standing in line, but if you're standing in line for 6 hours, that last election, people waited in line for hours. And now you're like, so this is giving people a safe place to vote for sure, but it's also saying, you know what, we can be creative in our ways of fighting against voter suppression.
I want to see this.
Voter suppression is very un-American. That's more like what happens in Russia and North Korea.
Right.
That should no longer, it's been happening ever since America's inception, but it should no longer be happening.
Well, I want to see the vigor and excitement that happened during Obama's first election. my God, people that hadn't voted their whole
Right.
life came out to the polls.
Right.
And, I'd like to see that excitement because
was
if
cool.
you care about who's going to be the next president and the choices are pretty clear,
Right.
Biden or Trump,
Right.
you better get your behind out to
You
vote.
have to engage
Yeah.
the youth. You really do to make
Yes.
sure that this is a really important election.
Yes.
We've gone through 4 years of Trump, and we know like the ramifications from that. We just can't survive another 4 years with
No.
this. So it's really important that we're always engaging with the youth and letting them
Yeah.
know exactly what's been going on.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen both these shows before, and I want to cancel my Netflix subscription for it. I want to.
Oh.
I'm like, I want a new show.
Yeah.
I want a new show.
I know, but unfortunately, there is no new show. Unfortunately, the reality is this is what we got. You got a choice between these two. And this is what's at stake. And the idea that we can just pretend like, oh, I just wish it would be different is like for 5-year-olds. We're grown-ups. You got a choice between two people. One is going to affirm your identity and your right to exist, and the other is not. And it's not a joke. And they've made it very, very clear that our community is a target and that they will destroy our community. There's still a bunch of laws on the books in the state of Florida to make us not even be able to sit here and do this.
Yeah.
Right.
The choices are very clear. No time for games and pretending and wishing. And I was having a conversation the other night. They were like, well, maybe we could have a No, maybe we cannot. We have two. There are two people running. Make a choice that's going to affect your life. Vote for your own interest. But pretending, we don't have time for pretending. Yeah.